Dear students, in this lecture, we are going to cover the course of Indian freedom movement when the Second World War was going on in Europe and Asia. So let us see. So before the Second World War, this is the time when Gandhi ji had already established himself as the tallest leader. So whatever Gandhi says, the Congress does. And Gandhiji had already till then taught the country how to come together to launch mass movement. So Gandhiji was already a well-established mass leader. He had already successfully conducted movements like civil disobedient movement, non-cooperation movement. So Gandhiji was well established. But the problem is that this time the problem is bigger. World War is going on. So Britain is busy fighting fascist powers. So fascist powers was the name given to those powers which invade countries using military power with a view to capture the land. So let us see. So Second World War begins. So when did the Second World War begin? So it began on 1st September 1939 when Germany attacked Poland. So Germany and Poland are neighboring countries. So Chancellor of Germany. Chancellor means in equivalent terms Prime Minister. So Chancellor of Germany at that time was Hitler. So Hitler attacked Poland, and that event marked the start of Second World War, because he was, from many days, Hitler was saying that he is going to invade Poland. So Britain and France had promised Poland. Britain and France had promised Poland that if any other country invades Poland, we would come to your support. And finally, Hitler is invading Poland on 1st of September 1939. So that way, Britain, France, Germany, all these are at war. Now war is about to start. So on 3rd September 1939, that means 2 days later, Britain declared war against the Axis powers. So two types of countries are there. One is led by Germany. The other is led by Britain. And they both are the main opponents. So the group led by Germany also contains Italy, Japan. So this group is known as Axis power, whereas the other group contains France. Later on, USA also joins in. So this group was known as Allied powers. So basically, two groups, Allied versus Axis. Now you would ask which group did India was part of. So by default, India was part of Allied groups. Why by default? Because India was part of British Empire and British are fighting the Germany. So it is natural that India is part of Allied forces. So on 3rd September 1939, Britain declared war against the Axis powers. So led by Germany, Italy and Japan. So when Britain is declaring the war, it also dragged India, because India was under control of Britain. So Britain said that not only Britain but India is also at war. So what were the other countries doing? So Japan is in Asia only. So Japan called World War II as the war to liberate its Asian brothers from the clutches of Western imperial forces. So Japan used to claim that we are fighting World War II not to harm any country, but our aim is to basically liberate the Asian countries which are under control of European powers. For example, Britain was controlling India. Why was Britain controlling India? What business Britain has been with India? Britain was also controlling Sri Lanka. Britain was also controlling Burma. Britain was also controlling Singapore. So Japan said that we are not here to harm these countries, but they are our brothers. We want to harm Britain and other European countries who have made them slaves. So this was the official position of Japan. Government of India, because government of India is separate from government of Britain. Though India is totally under control of Britain, but actually there are two separate entities. So government of India declared Indian support for the war. Government of India means Viceroy. He made a statement that India is also at war. So they declared India support for the war without even consulting the Indian political leaders. That means Britain thought that it is natural that Indians will support us. So they were not consulted. So this started the problem. So now Congress came to know that war have started. He was the viceroy at that time, Lord Linlithgow. So almost up till the last of war, he was the viceroy. The last months of the war, somebody else was viceroy, we will see. But you can consider that he was the viceroy of India when World War II was going on. So now Congress starts negotiating with Viceroy. So Congress was not happy that without even talking to us, we are the political party, we represent people of India. Without talking to us, how can you take a unilateral decision? Have you consulted us? So they haven't consulted. So Congress was not happy. But Congress thought that let us wait for some time because the war have just now started. Let's not create hurdles for Britishers. They have to fight a big war. So Congress was behaving like a good child. So initially it decided to support the war effort conditionally. So initially Congress was ready to support that, okay, the war is going on. So because that time nobody knew that how big this war is going to be. So they thought that, okay, initially they thought that let's not create trouble for the British Empire. So initially they lent their support with some conditions. The Indian offer to cooperate in the war effort had two basic conditions. So what were those two conditions? The first condition was, okay, we are ready to support. So what do you mean that decided to support? See, when you are at war, you need support of your people. How? Because you are going to raise taxes, you are going to increase production, you are going to ask your people to work more in factories, you are going to ration, you are going to, let's say, sugar. So you need more sugar for soldiers, so less sugar will be available for public. So you want public to be with you. You don't want that later on public should start shouting at the government that why their sugar is not available. So you want them with you, you want their support. Also, if Congress would have said that no Indian will participate in war, then soldiers would have not participated. The British forces comprised of almost more than 2 lakh Indian soldiers. Almost 2 lakh Indian soldiers were fighting in World War II. So now Congress has some demands. Now Congress is ready to support. We will support you, but listen, we have two conditions. What were those two conditions? The condition was that when the war will be over, the British would make an exit, would be ready to exit. How? You have to make a constituent assembly to frame constitution of free India. So just as the war is over, you have to form a constituent assembly. What is meaning of constituent assembly? The assembly which will frame the constitution. Constituent. So you have to give us the power. We will form our own constitution. This was the first condition. The second condition was that we cannot wait for war to be over immediately. That means even when the war is going on, establish a responsible government at center. Now what is meant by responsible government at center? Responsible government means a government which is run by the opinion of Indian people. But that time Viceroy was taking decision, and even in the Central Assembly, Indian representatives were very less. So now they wanted to establish a responsible government, because you are telling that India is at war. So let Indians take decision, let Indians know that when is Japan going to attack, what to do with Germany, let Indians decide. So immediately establish a responsible government. So these were the two demands. Congress was ready for supporting. What did the Viceroy do? The offer was rejected by Lynn Lithgow. He was the Viceroy. So all these offers were made to him only. So he rejected all these offers. So this way, Congress was ready to support, but the government said that your conditions are not acceptable. So now what will happen? Congress and government will start fight. I mean, they are at loggerheads. They are not agreeing with each other. So trouble starts. So now Congress have understood that Viceroy is not ready to accept our demands. So 2-3 days later, when the war has just begun. So war has begun on 1st of September. So things started moving quickly. On 3rd of September, it was declared that Britain and India both are fighting. So on next week, within a week, Congress calls its meeting. See, this is not annual session. So you must have heard in previous lectures that Congress used to conduct its annual session. So this is not annual session. This is CWC, Congress Working Committee. Congress Working Committee. That means the prominent leaders of Congress, they met at Wardha in Maharashtra. So they met at Wardha that now what we should do, let's come together and decide. So a meeting was called at Wardha. What happened in that meeting? So different opinions were voiced. I mean, different Congress leaders, they had different opinions. So see, just an year ago, just a few months ago, Subhash Chandra Bose was elected the Congress president, but Gandhi was not accepting this. So Subhash Chandra Bose had to resign. So Subhash Chandra Bose was not very much happy with Gandhi and his supporters like Nehru at that time. So this was the, you can say, political scenario of that time. So under these kind of environment, a meeting is taking place. Now what happened at that meeting? Different opinions were voiced on the question of Indian support to British war efforts. So different leaders had different approach. Some said that we must do nothing to create problem for British government. Some said that we don't care about British government. So they are busy fighting Hitler. So let's attack them now. So it is the right time to attack British government. So different leaders had different opinions. So what was Gandhiji's opinion? Gandhiji advocated an unconditional support to British war effort. Earlier, the Congress was giving some conditions that we are ready to support. You have to give us constituent assembly. You have to form a responsible government. But Gandhiji did not want to put a slightest amount of pressure on British government. He wanted that we must fully support the British government. Why? Because Gandhiji was a very educated person. He understood who Hitler is. He knew that Hitler is a bigger monster. He is a big monster as compared to the British Empire. And Gandhiji also knew that if Hitler wins this war, India will also be in trouble. So he said that let's not put any conditions. Let's simply support in whatever the British wants us to. So Nehru also agreed. So Nehru also agreed that Britain is not all good. So Britain is also doing the same thing that Hitler is doing. Nehru said that Britain is also guilty as Germany, because Britain has come to India, captured India. Britain has captured other countries as well. So what Hitler is doing today, Britain has done almost 300 years ago. So this is what Nehru said. But he believed that justice was on the side of Britain. But he said that forget about history, talk about today. Today, Germany and Britain are fighting. Germany and Britain are fighting. So this Germany, Hitler is killing innocent people. So if we talk in today's term, so justice is on side of Britain. That means today, whatever is happening, we must support Britain. So that way, Gandhi ji and Nehru, they were thinking the same thing, that let's not create trouble for the British government when the war is going on. Let's support them fully. So Gandhi and Nehru thought that it was not wise, to cause any hindrance in fight against Nazism. Now the other group, that means the group led by Subhash Chandra Bose and the socialist faction. That means Subhash Chandra Bose was not alone. He had huge fan following. So his supporters were mainly communist in nature, communists, and they were also left-leaning, left parties. So his supporters, his faction, argued that Britain and its allies were bigger fascists. So they said that Britain is not better than Hitler, because Britain is even worse than Hitler. So they said that let's not show any sympathy, any kind of sympathy for the British government. It is the right time to create trouble for them, because they are already weak. They have to fight with Hitler. So it is the good time that we Indians should try to gain independence. So Subhash Chandra Bose thought that the time was right to snatch freedom by starting a civil disobedience movement. So civil disobedience, Gandhi ji used to do all these kind of movements. So now Subhash Chandra Bose asks Gandhi ji that again let us start a big movement, and this time, since Britishers are weak, they are already fighting a world war, so this time we will manage to gain independence. So this was what was happening at the meeting of Wardha, just a week after the world war has actually begun. So at the meeting, different people, different leaders are telling different things. So what was the official stand of Congress? So Congress heard the opinion of various leaders and it tried to create a balance, because some people were saying that support Britain fully, some were saying totally oppose Britain. But the Congress resolution was a balanced one. The Congress resolution condemned the fascist aggression. So in that way they said that justice was on the side of Britain. So that way they said that okay, what Britain is doing is correct in this world war. But they also said that India could not be party to a war. So the Congress said that India has got nothing to do with the war that is happening in Europe. They also said that Britain should end its imperialistic policies and give freedom to its colonies. So the Congress made this, see, resolution does not means demand. Resolution means observation or communication. You are communicating your feelings to the government. So you are telling the government, you are telling the British government that Britain should end its imperialistic policies and give freedom to its colonies. So what you are telling Hitler to do, you are asking Hitler not to capture other countries, then why have you captured India? So it said that Britain should end its imperialistic policies. Now, the third and most important demand was the government should declare its war aims. So now Congress wanted that make your plans clear. Let us know what your plans are. What are you going to do when the war is going to get over? You have to tell us clearly. Only then we are in a we will be in a position to decide whether to support you or not. So tell us everything. How are you going to fight? Whom are you going to take support from? What are you going to do after, once the war is over? What are you going to do with India once the war is over? So all these were demands of the Congress. How did the government respond to this demand? So government was keeping an eye that Congress is having a meeting at Wardha. So they came to know that this is the Congress resolution. Now how did government respond? The government's response was entirely negative. They were not ready to listen to anything. They were not giving any significance to Congress. because they thought that we are fighting a world war. So why should we listen to a small as per them, a political party? So now Viceroy Lin Lithgow tried to use the Muslim League and the princes against the Congress, because Congress was creating trouble. So Viceroy thought that to balance Congress, let's get some supporters. So he started asking Muslim League and the princely state to support the war effort, to declare that okay, if Congress wants to oppose the British government, we want to support. After all, we are also political parties. So Lin Lithgow started to use these groups to put pressure on Congress. Also, Lin Lithgow refused to define the British war aims. So as the Congress have asked the British government to clearly tell what is the plan, how are they going to fight the war, what are they going to do after the war. So Lin Lithgow completely refused. He said that we are not going to tell you anything, that what our plans are, what will we do with India once the war is over. We will see when the time will come. So he said he refused to define British war's aims beyond stating that Britain was resisting aggression. Lin Lithgow said that all I can tell you is that we are fighting the German aggression, the fascist aggression. We cannot tell you anything beyond this. But Lin Lithgow said that we are ready to constitute a consultative committee to take your opinion. He said, okay, we are not neglecting you completely. If you want, I can form a committee of political leaders from different groups, and then we can consult you while taking decisions. So this was the official government response. That means none of the demands of Congress were accepted by the government. So what was the government thinking? Why was the government doing this? Why was the government neglecting Congress? After all, Congress was the biggest political party. It was a big force. It had millions of supporters. So why was the government trying to neglect the Congress? What was the government's hidden agenda? So Viceroy Lin Lithgow's hidden agenda was to provoke Congress into starting some kind of agitation. That's why they were insulting Congress leaders. They were not accepting any of their demands, because Viceroy thought that if I do these kind of things, it is sure that Congress will again start some kind of agitation like civil disobedience, non-cooperation. So British government actually wanted Congress to do that. But why? Why did they want Congress to do some kind of trouble? Because World War II was going on and special laws were in effect at that time. Since the World War was going on, so British have enacted some strong law that they can enter your house, they can arrest you at any time. There will be no trial, no judge, nothing, simply put into prison. So special laws were there. So Lin Lithgow thought that let Congress start some kind of agitation. So this time I would arrest the entire Congress, because special laws are in place. Using those laws, he could have arrested the entire Congress. So that was the government's hidden agenda, that to destroy the Congress completely. Also, if Congress would have started some kind of agitation, the British government would have said that look at Congress, we are fighting Hitler and they are not supporting us, they are creating trouble for us. That means they are supporters of Hitler and they are supporters of Mussolini. So this was the plan, that if Congress does something to create trouble for British government, the British media in entire world would paint Congress as supporters of Hitler and Mussolini. The British Prime Minister at that time was Winston Churchill. So he had a personal dislike for Indians. Winston Churchill used to pass some very bad comments about Indians. And he did not like the Congress also. So he used to call Congress as a purely Hindu organization. Why? Because he wanted Muslims to stay away from Congress. That's why he used to give these kind of statement. This question has been asked many times. Who termed Congress as a purely Hindu organization? It was Winston Churchill. So it was not reality. Congress, members of Congress were from all communities. Even the Congress presidents, many Muslims have become Congress president. But Winston Churchill was a wicked person, at least when it came to Indian policies. So Congress is disappointed. Government is not listening to them. So what will the Congress do now? So to retaliate, there was a mass resignation by Congress ministers. So on October 23, so war already 50 days of war. 50 days have already gone, World War II. So 50 days after World War II, that means on October 23rd, because the declaration of war was made on 3rd of September, that India is going to participate. So 50 days from then, Congress was disappointed that government is not talking with them, government is not listening to their demands. So Congress asked all its ministers in the provincial assemblies to resign. So in 1937 elections were held. We have seen in previous lectures that in 1937 elections were held, and after that, those elections, several governments were formed in states. For example, today we have a chief minister in Uttar Pradesh, we have a chief minister in Bihar. So Bihar has a separate government, Uttar Pradesh has a separate government. So these are state provincial governments. So that time also in 1937, Congress have won in many states. That means Congress was running government in many states. So what did the Congress do? Congress asked its ministers to give resignation. They said that we do not want to be part of a government which is not even listening to us. So they simply resigned. Linlithgow, who was the viceroy, and the Muslim League were filled with joy. They were happy. Why were they happy? Because the Congress ministers have resigned. So why are they happy? So they are happy because Congress is gone from the government. What does the government do? Government makes laws. Government takes decision. So now the Viceroy and the Muslim League are happy that they can take decisions without the interference of Congress. So it meant Muslim League ministers can take decisions more freely. So if Congress is gone, that means Muslim League is still part of government. So now importance of Muslim League will increase because there are no Congress members. Also, whatever Muslim League will say, the Congress is not there to oppose that. So Muslim League was very happy. You look at this picture. So this picture is taken at Lahore, and it was taken on December 22nd December. So the Muslim League observed the Day of Deliverance. This is very important. What was Day of Deliverance? Because the Congress ministers have resigned, so Muslim League was happy. They said that it is very good that these monsters are gone. So it is a day of deliverance. So this was done to mock the mass resignation of Congress. So who gave the call of Day of Deliverance? It was Muslim League. When was it celebrated? On 22nd December 1939. Why was it celebrated? To mock or to celebrate the mass resignation by Congress ministers. So now Congress leaders and ministers have resigned from the government. So they have to do something now to oppose the government, to make their voice heard. So what can they do? They are out of government now. So Congress now discusses starting a mass satyagraha. So Congress is led strongly by Gandhi ji, and Gandhi ji is master in conducting mass satyagraha. So now Congress thinks that let's start another mass satyagraha. So after Linlithgow's statement of October 1939, what was the meaning of this statement? That we do not accept Congress demand, after which the Congress have resigned. So after Linlithgow's statement of October, the debate started whether or not to start mass satyagraha. That means Congress leaders began discussing, should we or should we not start a big, large scale movement. So Gandhi ji and his supporters were not in favor of an immediate struggle. As I already told you that Gandhi ji was initially in favor of giving unconditional support to the British. So he was always he was taking decisions very carefully. He was not an immature young person. He was a well experienced politician. So he did not want to create any kind of trouble for Britishers. So that's why he was controlling Congress that no, do not do something which disturbs the war, because they are fighting a war. We will get enough time to settle our scores later, but let British fight Hitler first. So that was Gandhiji's mentality. So Gandhiji and his supporters were not in a favor of an immediate struggle, because what was the reasons why Gandhiji did not want to start an immediate struggle? The first reason was allied countries were doing the right thing by fighting Hitler. This is what Gandhiji thought, and obviously his thinking is correct that Hitler was a monster who was destroying the peace of the entire world. So Gandhiji said that no, let Britain fight Hitler first. Let's not disturb Britain. The other thing that Gandhiji already knew that the Hindu-Muslim unity has suffered because of the politics of Muslim League and other Hindu outfits. So the unity was not as strong as before, because you see, Muslims were also celebrating Day of Deliverance. They were happy that Congress have resigned. So Muslim and Hindu unity at that time was somewhat weakened. And Gandhiji knew that if under these kind of circumstances we start a movement, then Hindus and Muslim might clash, might start fighting amongst themselves. Why? Because the British government, they are supporting Muslim League and they are not listening to Congress. So the wicked British government could make Hindus and Muslim fight. So let's not take any risk. Let's not start the movement right now. We will wait for the right time. This was the thinking of Mahatma Gandhi. Also, the Congress was very weak at that time, because people like Subhash Chandra Bose and his followers, they did not agree with the policies and approach of Gandhiji and Nehru. So Congress was also fighting or facing some trouble. So Congress organization was politically weak due to difference of opinion. So Congress is also weak. There are chances of Hindu-Muslim rights taking place, and also Hitler is a greater enemy. So that's why Gandhiji thought that let's wait for some time. Let's not hurry. He also felt that because of all these reasons, masses were not ready for a struggle. Because World War II is going on, everybody have to take care of their families. Prices are rising, poverty is there. So masses were not in a position to give time for national struggle. They have to struggle for their own families and livelihood. So this was the thinking of Mahatma Gandhi. So what did Gandhiji say to Congress? So Congress have asked him that should we start a mass satyagraha or not? So Gandhiji told the Congress people that let's first tone up the Congress. That means let's first make Congress strong. Let's first gather public support from Congress, because Congress have lost touch with people. So let's again go to the villages. Let's have some meetings. Let's do some small scale, rallies and all that, so that again people support can be won by Congress. So once Congress becomes strong enough, then we could launch the struggle. So this is what Gandhiji told the Congress people. So after this, Congress met at its annual session. So they met in March. So almost 6 months of war had already gone by then, World War II. So war was going on for 6 months. So Germany was winning that time. Initially, Germany was winning for 2 years. From 1939 up till 1941, Germany was winning non-stop. And here in Asia, Japan was winning non-stop. Nobody was there to stop them. So now Congress is having its annual session. Gandhiji have already said that no, right now this is not the right time to do a mass struggle. Let's think of something else. So now Congress is having its annual session at Ramgarh. So what did they decide? So facts to remember. This session of Ramgarh was headed by Maulana Abul Kalam Azad. So all these are political strategies. Why? Because Muslims were going towards Muslim League. So a Muslim face was necessary to bring them back together. So Maulana Abul Kalam Azad was made the president of the session, not only because of this. He was a very well-learned scholar. He was a capable leader, but I'm just giving you the nuances. So now Congress resolution at Ramgarh session said, because they have already consulted with Gandhiji, they knew that what Gandhiji was thinking. So the resolution at Ramgarh session said that Congress would resort to civil disobedience as soon as Congress organization is considered fit enough, because they knew what Gandhi thinks Congress does. So Congress said that right now we are not starting any big agitation. Right now our focus is on rebuilding the organization, and when the opportune time will come, we will start an agitation. But they also said that if some kind of crisis happens, then we are ready to start the agitation. Then we will not wait for time. That means if something of that sort happens, which will compel Congress to start an agitation, then Congress will definitely do that. So as expected, a coalition of leftist and communist leaning leaders like Subhash Chandra Bose and his forward bloc, because Subhash Chandra Bose have formed a separate political party because he was not happy with the way Gandhiji and Nehruji was taking decisions. So he had formed his own political party. So these people, they were not happy with this resolution, because they were putting pressure on Congress that you declare at this session that from tomorrow onwards we are doing something, we are doing some kind of agitation. But Congress said that right now we are not going to start any agitation. So Subhash Chandra Bose and his political group, they walked out. They finally walked out. Fine. So again differences started. So Congress, Socialist Party, Communist Party, all these parties, they walked out. They stopped supporting the policies of Congress, and they wanted a nationwide strike. They said that if you do not want to start any movement, we will do the movement in form of strikes. They were socialist parties, communist parties. They had great hold on the labor, working class, people working in mill, people working in railways station. So they said that we are going to start a nationwide strike. So if there is a strike, that means people are not going to work. So if nobody goes to work at radio station, that means how will British announce the news, war effort, what is going on in war? If people do not go to, let's say somebody who is working for railways, if it does not go to work for railways, then the war effort will suffer, because war is going on. You cannot go on strike. These people, Subhash Chandra Bose and these socialist people, they were of the opinion that neither Germany nor Japan was a threat to India. They thought that why should we support Britain? We support Britain so that they defeat Germany and Japan. They told that Germany and Japan have got nothing to do with India. They are simply fighting Britain. So let's not be afraid of Germany and Japan. And if necessary, let's also take help from Germany and Japan. Later on, as you know, Subhash Chandra Bose met Hitler as well to gain support for Indian freedom struggle. So anyways, Ramgarh session means the declaration that we are not going to do anything immediately. Let's wait and watch. So this way, the Congress finally declared at the session that the people of India would accept nothing sort of complete independence. But see, they decided that we are not going to start any movement. But they also made their opinion very clear. They told very clearly that they told to British government, if you want to promise us something, you have to promise that you have to give us complete independence. You cannot give us lollipop, some other promise. Full and final independence. Do you want to give us? If yes, we will support the war. If no, then go to hell. So full and final freedom was the major objective, major demand of Congress. Dominion or any other status within British structure was not acceptable. What is dominion? So there is a big British Empire. Canada is also part of it. Australia is also part of it. India is also part of it. Sri Lanka is also part of it. Singapore is also part of it. So all these countries which were part of British Empire, so they were given the status of dominion. That means you are part of larger British Empire, and dominion status actually meant you can form your own government, but major decisions will be taken by Britain. So this was what was meant by dominion status. That means day-to-day activities you can do by forming your own government, but major decisions like defense, fighting in World War, all those kind of things will be taken by Britain. So Congress said that this kind of arrangement is not acceptable to us. Give us complete independence. That means you go home, we will manage our own country. We don't want to be dominion. However, Viceroy Linlithgow declared dominion status for India once the war was over. So Linlithgow said that all I can promise right now is that as soon as the war will be over, you will be given the dominion status. Dominion status, that means you will still be part of British Empire, but you can have a full-fledged government of your own. You can have an Indian Prime Minister and Indian Chief Ministers, but control will be still with us. So that was not acceptable to Congress, and that way the deadlock continues. Congress wants complete independence. The British wants to give them only dominion status. So what was Muslim League doing then? So by then Muslim League had already, made it very clear that they want a separate country. Separate means completely separate even from the British Empire. So under those circumstances, Muslim League called for a meeting at Lahore, 2-3 days after the Ramgarh session of Congress. So at Ramgarh Congress met, at Lahore Muslim League is meeting. So All India Muslim League held its annual session at Lahore 2 days after the Congress session ended at Ramgarh. So Muslim League was keeping a close watch on how Congress is behaving. So now what did Congress say? Congress said that we want complete Indian independence, promise of Indian independence, complete. So Muslim League passed a resolution calling for grouping of geographically contiguous areas having Muslim majority to be declared as a separate dominion. So Muslim League said that, okay, we are happy with the dominion. If this is India, so if these are Muslim majority areas, so if there are contiguous, that means if they share boundaries, all these areas should be grouped in a single political entity, and it should be made the dominion of India. That means India should be divided in two groups. One group given to Muslims and other to the remaining Indians. So that was the Pakistan resolution. For the first time, they demanded Pakistan. That's why it is known as Pakistan resolution. Where did this demand take place for the first time? I mean, this is the first political demand. Therefore, for the first time in history of Indian politics, this demand is put before the government. I'm not talking about writing on newspaper or writing article. Officially, Pakistan was demanded. That's why this is known as Pakistan resolution. Muslim League is taking a resolution that हम लड़के लेंगे पाकिस्तान. So Pakistan resolution, Lahore. So negotiations begin because now Congress is also demanding something from government. Muslim League is also demanding from government. So now government have to negotiate. France had fallen to the Axis power. That means France was captured by Hitler, and Britain herself was in the danger of being captured. So Germany was winning, as I already told you, from 1939, from September 1939 up till the time they invaded Russia. They were winning comprehensively. So there was a change of government in Britain, and Winston Churchill had become the new prime minister. So Winston Churchill became the new prime minister sometimes after the war started. So before that, who was the prime minister? Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain was the prime minister when the World War had started. So he was a soft-spoken moderate. He had sympathies towards India. Whereas this guy, Winston Churchill, he did not like India at all. But the circumstances were such that Britishers wanted somehow the political support of Indian leaders. Why? Because Britain was in danger. Germany was winning. Germany had already defeated France. So now these British government have to do something to gain support of both Congress and Muslim League. So INC softened its stand. Why? Because INC understood that situation have grown more dangerous. Germany was about to defeat Britain. You know, bombings were being done in London. Every night, London used to be bombed by Hitler's air forces. So now Congress understood, no, this is getting serious. This is getting serious. So that's why Congress softened its stand in solidarity with the British people being killed. So it said that support for the war would be provided if power was transferred to an interim government of India. So INC said that, okay, forget about complete independence, forget about dominion, thing right now. Just do a simple thing. You transfer the power to interim government. That means don't give us independence, but there is already a government structure for the government. So let Indians take over this. We don't want independence, but let Indians run their own government. So this demand was sent to the government. Now what did government do? So government have to somehow get their support. Government knows that Congress is demanding from us that an interim government should be formed. That means they want greater participation in ruling, in governance. And Muslim League is demanding something else. They are demanding Pakistan. So let us see. So government made an offer to the political parties. So this offer is known as August offer because it was made in the month of August. So Viceroy Linlithgow was residing at Shimla. Why? Because Shimla was the capital of India and he was the Viceroy. He had to be in capital only. So capital, he was in his capital city. So on 8th August, all these dates are important from competitive point of view. When was August offer made? 8th August 1940. Fine. 11 months after World War II has begun. 11 months have gone. Germany is winning. Japan is winning. British people are scared. They want support from political parties of India. So what are they doing? They are making an offer. Viceroy is making an offer. So this offer was made on 8th August through a set of proposals, and this offer is today known as August Offer. This proposal for the first time recognized the rights of the Indians to frame a constitution for themselves. So for the first time in August Offer, it was promised to the Indians that India is your own country and you should be given the task of framing constitution for yourself. Earlier, British used to make laws. So till that time, you already know that Government of India Act. Government of India Act of 1935 was acting as the constitution. So this act was brought by Britishers, not by Indians. So now they are telling Indians, okay, now you can frame your own constitution the way you like. And who will frame the constitution? Anybody will come and frame the constitution or what? No. So the British told that we will form a group known as Constituent Assembly, Constituent Constitution. So this Constituent Assembly will be given the task to frame the constitution. And how will this Constitution Assembly be formed? So this Constitution Assembly will be formed by electing an elected body. That means already elections were taking place in different states. So different states will be asked to vote, elect people and send them to Constituent Assembly. So Constituent Assembly will be, you can say, group of only Indians, not a single Britisher. So these Indians will themselves form their own constitution. So this was a big offer, very big offer. But freedom was not given. Dominion status was given. That means we are not going back to our home. We will still be your masters. You will behave like a dominion. India is there, Canada is there, Australia is there, but Britain is the master. So that was not acceptable. The Viceroy's Executive Council would be expanded. So as they knew that they were asking for responsible government, so August Offer is giving them offer and after offer. So now the next offer is, we are expanding the British Viceroy's Executive Council. That means we will create more seats and all these seats will be filled by Indians. So now Indians will become in majority. Earlier there were Britishers who were taking decisions and 2-3 Indians were there. Now more seats would be created. So Executive Council was like a parliament. So now more Indians can become part of lawmaking. All the important ministries were to be given to Indians except 3, because they have asked for popular government, responsible government. So now British government is saying, okay, we are accepting your demand. We are giving all the major portfolios to Indians. Agriculture minister will be Indian, communication minister will be Indian, railway minister will be Indian, but the major 3 portfolios, that means defense, finance and home portfolios, will still be with the Viceroy. That means Viceroy will, or you can say Britishers will manage these 2 departments. An advisory war council was to be established. An advisory war council. So what was the political response to the August Offer? Because this offer was made to political parties like Congress, Muslim League and to princely states. So how did they respond? The Congress rejected the August Offer. Why? Because they wanted complete independence, whereas the British were giving only dominion status. So that's why they rejected. The Muslim League also rejected this. Why? Because they were not happy that, see, they were happy about some things and not happy about some things. They were happy that August Offer had given them a veto power. So there are 2 major political parties, Muslim League and Indian National Congress. So it was told that Constituent Assembly will be formed. So 2 political parties would reach there. So veto power was given to Muslim League. That means even if majority decides something, then Muslim League can veto that. Veto means put it to stay. That means if Muslim League didn't like anything, that would not happen. So this was made in August offer. So Muslim League were happy that we are given such an importance, we are given a veto power. But they still rejected the August offer because they wanted a declaration of a separate Pakistan. They said, where have you given us a separate land for Muslims? We are looking for a separate political provinces meant only for Muslims. Only Muslims will fight elections. Only Muslims will become ministers. So that's why Muslim League also rejected the offer. So now two major political parties have rejected the August offer. August offer has come from British government. So now what are these political parties going to do? What will Congress do now? So Congress is headed by, or you can say the mentor of Congress. See, Gandhiji was not the member of Congress at that time. He had already given up his Congress membership. He was just the guiding force, you can say like the mentor. So now Gandhiji, Congress asks Gandhiji that what can we do now? So Gandhiji says that let's start an individual satyagraha because we cannot start a mass movement. So let's start individual. So what was this individual? The Congress was in a confused state after rejecting the August offer. The radicals means extremist or aggressive groups like Subhash Chandra Bose wanted to launch a mass civil disobedience movement, but Gandhiji insisted on individual satyagraha. That means don't involve the entire country, but individually you do what you can to resist. So what was the meaning of individual satyagraha? The individual satyagraha was not to seek independence. I mean, these satyagrahas were not to tell Britain that give us freedom, but just to tell the British government that we Indians also have the right to speak when the war is going, because you have involved our country also in war. So we have the right to speak that how India should participate in war, what should India do, what India shouldn't do. So that was the purpose of individual satyagraha, that a person used to go to a village and he used to give speeches, he used to make slogans against the government. So it was a taste of freedom of speech, individual. So the demand of the satyagrahis was using freedom of speech against the war through an anti-war declaration. If the government did not arrest the satyagrahi, who were these satyagrahis? They were individual people who used to go to villages, shout slogans. So they used to stay there for 10-15 minutes. They used to shout slogan. The whole village would start to shout slogan. So it was done individually, one person at a time. So if the government did not arrest the satyagrahi, he or she will move, repeating it in the villages and start march towards Delhi. So Gandhiji have said that you individual satyagrahis, you start from your place towards Delhi, and whichever village you find in your way, you do this activity. You start making speeches against British government, you start shouting anti-war slogans, but do not do anything aggressive. So this was known as Delhi Chalo movement, because Gandhiji had called everyone to join at Delhi. So this is Delhi Chalo movement. Very important. When was Delhi Chalo movement launched? It was launched during the individual satyagraha. Don't say quit India, don't say anything else. Individual satyagraha. Now what happened to this individual satyagraha? Unfortunately, this individual satyagraha did not have a great impact. Gandhiji declared that non-violence was set as the centerpiece of individual satyagraha. That means you don't have to do anything aggressive. You simply have to give speeches. You have to shout slogans. So this was done by carefully selecting the satyagrahis. So Gandhiji gave the onus of doing this satyagraha only on his trusted supporters, whom he trusted. These are the firm believers in non-violence. Very important fact. The first satyagrahi was Acharya Vinoba Bhave. He was a social reformer, social activist. So he was a very close disciple of Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi chose him that you would become the first person to do this satyagraha. So what did Vinoba Bhave do? He started shouting slogans by going in a village. He started giving speech, and he was immediately arrested and sent to jail. The second satyagrahi was Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru is also a trusted follower of Mahatma Gandhi. So only trusted followers. So second satyagrahi, Jawaharlal Nehru. Third one was Brahmadatta. Who was the Brahmadatta? He was one of the inmates of Gandhi Ashram. Again, a very close supporter of Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi was very careful. They were all sent to jail for violating the Defense of India Act. That time, some severe laws were in place because World War II was going on. So using these laws, all these leaders who were doing individual satyagrahas, they were arrested and sent to jail. Because if you are shouting slogan or if you are doing anything, you are you are creating trouble for British government in fighting World War II. So that was a crime. So this was followed by a lot of other people. That means not only these three are the prominent names, but this happened almost all over the country because they were coming to Delhi chalo. So everybody was doing it. So this was followed by a lot of other people. But since it was not a mass movement, it attracted little enthusiasm. And in December 1940, Gandhiji suspended the movement. So since it was not a mass movement and people were getting arrested for just saying slogan, so Gandhiji thought that it is of no use to continue all this. And finally in December 1940, Gandhiji suspended the movement. So this way you can see how the Indian freedom struggle was progressing during World War II.